here were the counts. He was guilty on every single count. The jury took less than 3 hours to deliberate. Angela Senadella is with me now. She called this thinking the verdict was going to be guilty because of the time the jury took. You're not surprised, but I'm sure you are, because the defense put in so much time. And like we said, the motive, the murder weapon, all of this was sort of missing, but there were enough lies and enough guilt in the eyes of the jurors to convict him.
When I look at the closing arguments, I was surprised. I thought the defense did an amazing job showing reasonable doubt, showing how the prosecution did not meet the burden of proof. However, when the jury comes back this fast, it means they're not sitting around debating that 7 hours of closing. They made a gut decision based off of what was the crux of the entire trial, which was Alex Murdaugh on the stand himself saying, I lied, I lied, I lied, I lied. I think it comes down to this Snapchat video, the fact that he lied and only admitted to it when he was cornered up against a wall, and I think that that is what sunk him.
You know, Mark, you did have that Snapchat video where his voice was recorded. You had the jurors take that field trip, right, to the murder scene where they got to walk around the airplane hangar. They got to walk around the kennel. They got to see where these two people died. Again, Alex Murdaugh's own relatives, his wife, his son. And they heard from Alex Murdaugh on the stand. One of the jurors even handed him a Kleenex when Alex Murdaugh was crying on the stand, but they didn't believe what he had to say. They didn't believe his story. Do you think the prosecution did a good job? They obviously got the verdict they wanted.
Well, obviously they did a fine job because they convinced these jurors beyond the exclusion of every reasonable doubt, the highest burden under the law. And these jurors took very carefully what this guy was saying, and they didn't buy it. They also said, okay, if not him, who? Someone from 4 years ago who's upset about a boating accident came into this compound knowing that the wife and the son would be in the kennel at that moment, not bringing any weapons, utilizing the family's guns to kill them, and then getting away undetected. That also made no sense. That said, there was definitely a lot of reasonable doubt. I could have easily seen this going the other way.
Mark, you know, I want to go back, and I'm going to ask our director to take us back to the moment when they said guilty in court the first time they read that out loud, and Alex Murdaugh was sitting there stone-faced, reacting to that news. And I wanted to ask you what you thought of the body language. You have been with clients who have been found not guilty. I don't know if you've ever been with clients that have been found guilty. But what did you read from this? And I know you're not a body language expert, but how did you interpret this? It was sort of a strange reaction for a person who told everyone for years he was innocent.
Not to me, because first of all, he's a trial lawyer. He's been in that situation numerous times. He knows you're not supposed to react. He knows the cameras are watching, so he wants to deprive anybody of any kind of emotion and any kind of reaction. Number two, he also knows what he did. He knew from day one that most likely it was an uphill battle. And then the minute his voice was on that recording, he knew that his chances were snowballs, you know what.
You're saying, Mark, to stop you, you're essentially saying when we were watching Alex Murdaugh just now, we were watching a man who was realizing he likely was going to die in prison.
Yes. He knew that before he started this trial. He knew that in preparation for the trial. He was hoping that he could pull off reasonable doubt. And the minute that his friends and family said that's his voice on the video, he knew strike 2.999, almost 3 strikes. And then, against his attorney's advice, I'm going to try to figure this out. I'm going to try to save it. So he took the witness stand and had to admit to abhorrent conduct, to being a liar to everyone and everything, almost not worthy of any belief. But he gave enough to maybe get us thinking there's a chance they were going to buy it.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.